As an executive coach, you have an excellent toolbox full of tools to help your high-performing clients get excellent results. Sometimes these clients can come to you with feelings of self-doubt or that they're not good enough. And you might even correctly identify that as imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the secret feeling of being a fraud when you're not, the fear of being found out. It affects 70% of high achievers at some point in their career, men and women equally. I'm Tara Halliday, the imposter syndrome specialist and best-selling author of Unmasking, the Coach's Guide to Imposter Syndrome. Each year I speak to hundreds of executives, one-to-one, about their imposter syndrome. Now, if you look on the internet, there's a lot of noise these days about imposter syndrome, what it is and what to do about it. And if you pay attention to that, you might be misled into thinking imposter syndrome is somebody who's not aware of their strengths. You would then reach into your toolbox and take your client through an exercise to develop more awareness of their strengths. The assumption here is that if your client knew exactly how good they are, if they could really see it clearly, then they wouldn't feel bad about themselves, they would feel good enough, and they wouldn't feel like a fraud. Unfortunately, this technique does not work with imposter syndrome, and you'll just end up frustrating your client and disappointing yourself. You see, imposter syndrome is intellectually knowing that you're capable and competent, but internally feeling like you're still not quite good enough. And there's a dissonance between the two. In fact, leaders with imposter syndrome are often very self-aware, very clear of what their strengths are. However, those strengths don't prove to them that they're good enough. And that's really the point. And that's why self-awareness techniques won't work for it. Imposter syndrome is created by the underlying belief that your worth depends on what you do. And this is the unconscious part. This is what your client is not aware of. All they see is their own self-doubt, and they think it must be me. If you want to learn the right tools to get rid of imposter syndrome in your client, click the link here to get more details.